Welcome back to First Things First, Undisputed, coming up right after the show. I have no idea. I wonder, Joy, what you and the guys will be talking about today.
Good morning, Jenna. Good morning, guys. Coming up on Undisputed, does J.R. Smith deserve all the blame for the Cavs' Game 1 loss? And how upset should LeBron be with the refs today? Plus, Chris Broussard, Rob Parker, and Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang Clan are all in studio with us. Undisputed is coming up next. Jenna, you guessed right. Back to you guys.
Nailed it, Joy. I nailed it. I knew it. All right, Joy, thanks. We're going viral here. J.R.'s mistake at the end of the fourth quarter set the world on fire. Check out these tweets from NBA players last night. Joel Embiid said he's really trying to take that Shaqtin' a fool MVP from me. Dirk was confused, saying, did he think they were up one?
Yes, Dirk.
And Bulls forward Zach LaVine chimed in to tweet, I don't care what y'all say about JR. I know George Hill is the maddest person in the locker room.
Oh, that's about his missed free throw.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean...
a lot happened there at the end of that sequence.
There's a lot that all went into the Cavs not winning that basketball.
All right, so J.R. Smith's gaffe wasn't the only thing that went wrong for Cleveland, like we discussed in that final minute of regulation. Of course, I'm talking about this. LeBron taking a charge that was reviewed and then reversed to a block. Nick, what cost the Cavs more in Game 1, the refs or J.R. Smith's blunder?
So, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying the refs cost the Cavs the game. I don't think I've ever said that in any portion of my broadcast career. Because I don't think, unless it's as simple as a shot was after the buzzer and the refs allowed it and then the game's over, it's never as simple as that. But here's what I feel that I know. If the referees don't, I believe, against the rules, overturn that call, and I'll explain why in a second, the Cavs win that game. If J.R. Smith knows the score, he gets a shot up, or LeBron gets a shot up, but we don't. It's a tie game. They still got to make the shot. And here's why I say the referees had a bigger impact. The rule is very simple. You are allowed to review if the player was inside the charge circle. They added in the last 2 years that if you review that, you can then review was it a block or a charge. I believe the referees broke the rules here because they knew LeBron was not in the charge circle. Look at the replay. He's 2.5 feet outside the charge circle. There's no feet in the charge circle. There's no one in there that you think, oh, was it? No, they knew that. But because the two referees had conflicting calls, one block, one charge, they used that rule as a way to go review something that you're not supposed to be able to review. And if they get this call right, if they just follow the rules of the Professional Basketball Association, guess what? It's Cavs ball up 2 with 35 seconds left, and they're going to win that basketball game. And so I actually think this had a bigger impact than JR's mental gaffe, even if this, and you know what, I don't even know if this is more understandable, because this is the referees, to me, breaking the rules of the league, of which they are hired to enforce. And so I have a bigger problem with this than JR making a middle school play.
Well, the plays are separate, but JR's play comes afterwards. So if JR makes a smart basketball play, calls timeout. They set up a sideline out of bounds. They get a chance to be able to knock one down at the buzzer. Then we're not talking about the referee. We don't care. So one happens after the other. So the significance of time in the game, because there are certain mistakes where you can't blame it because there's a lot of plays. There's thousands of things that are going on. But when something happens that you can't recover from, after JR's mistake, the next basketball we saw, Golden State was totally out of their funk. They weren't chasing. They played very good in the overtime. And we have to be able to give them credit. But if he doesn't make that mistake, it doesn't get to overtime potentially. Now, I'm not certain if they do call this a charge. At that point, they get the ball. They're up by 2. That doesn't mean they're going to win. But the probability and the percentages go way, way up. They're going to milk the clock. I think there's 32 seconds. They're going to milk the clock. Golden State's not going to foul them. So what they do have the chance is to go down and get a bucket and make it a 2-possession game with less than 15 seconds on the clock.
Exactly.
So it's going to be hard for Golden State to win. The best thing happened for Golden State was Cleveland got the rebound and didn't get a shot up, which gave them an extra 5 minutes, which to me was almost like the third quarter playing over again in that arena.
And listen, I know we're going to get into JR and his excuse and the nonsense behind it. I do want to, after the bad call, there was still, you're up 2 because LeBron goes down and gets a layup to put you up 2, and Kevin Love fouls Steph Curry on a layup to give him an and one. The one thing you can't do there. If Kevin Love doesn't foul Steph, if he just lets him go by him, then the Cavs are holding for the last shot.
Well, that's what it is. There's like 4 or 5 or 6 different things that happen.
There's George Hill missing the free throw. Just make the free throw, George Hill.
Yeah, 90% in all playoff games in his history, playing in the playoffs in the last 2 minutes.
And the thing that's the guy who's happiest that JR didn't know the score was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, who proudly said just before the playoffs, LeBron works on his body, I work on my game. Well, not working on your body is why
JR put his thigh and just rolled you up under the rim and snatched the rebound.
It was a great play by JR up until he controlled the ball. And then it was a vintage JR play. He's done this before, forgetting the score and apologizing to teammates. I don't understand how he can justify mouthing to LeBron, I thought we were ahead, which he clearly does at the end of this play, and then saying publicly, I knew we were tied. He obviously forgot the score, and it is a middle school mistake by a professional basketball player in the final seconds of a finals game.
So you can't point to one thing. There's not one reason why the Cavs lost this game. We just laid out 8 or 9 of them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's not one. I'm not into blaming the referees. It was a bad call. You cannot change that call. LeBron played the play right, had Kevin Durant. Great players play sports a frame or two ahead. LeBron said, I knew he was going to do that. I anticipated better than any other play I've anticipated in a long, long time, and not get rewarded for that. So not only was it I didn't get the call, but the momentum of the moment was robbed from the Cavs.
And here's the other thing that is just, if you're a fan of basketball, forget being a fan of LeBron, if you're a fan of basketball, after this call, the final possession for the Cavs offensively, right? They're down 1 after all of this. LeBron has the ball. Context is this. LeBron's made 2 game winners these playoffs. LeBron has 49 points. He had never had a 50-point playoff game in his career. He has the opportunity to take the game-winning shot, to get to 50, to add a 3rd game winner, to keep this greatest individual playoff run maybe in history going. And what does he do? To quote Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, not what Michael would do, not what Kobe would do, what only LeBron would do. Guess what? There's a better play. I got a guy who has beat Klay Thompson, is going to get a layup. I'm going to thread this ball in there and trust my teammates. It's going to be an open layup. Klay knows it's going to be an open layup. He has to foul George Hill.
That's why he grabbed him.
I don't know of another superstar in league history, maybe Magic. I think Magic probably would have, but Magic wasn't the volume scorer that would make that play in that situation.
Right, so George not making the free throws, we get robbed of not going over that play again, again, and again. And the thing about LeBron is it doesn't matter what quarter it is. It doesn't matter what time of the season it is, that being preseason, that being beginning of the season, after the All-Star break, or now in the conference finals, which is the biggest stage that you can have as a basketball player. I'm going to play the game the right way. He's always said that, and it proved out because he's at the top of the key. He's got one-on-one. He sees there's 4 other defenders with a foot in the lane. You're right. Kobe would have shot that. MJ did it twice. Shot one against Cleveland. Shot another one against the Jazz.
Sure.
The Bill put him out of their misery. LeBron makes the right play, and he never gets enough credit for having that basketball IQ and playing the game the right way.
This is the second time, just quickly, I apologize. This is the second time in his last 3 finals games that LeBron has made the absolute right pass, the right play, which was a pass, when he was playing extraordinary offensive basketball and his teammates let him down. One was game 3 of the finals last year in Cleveland when they're up 2 and he hits Kyle Korver for the most efficient shot in the NBA all year, was a left corner Kyle Korver 3. He hits him, Korver misses it. Teammates let him down. Last night, he hits George Hill for a layup. He gets fouled because Klay had to foul him, and he misses second free throw. And then JR can do anything other than what he did. Anything other than what he did. And
I would have been able to live with, and it would have been a bad basketball play, him going back up against Kevin Durant.
Absolutely.
Like, I would have been able to live with that. Like, he was in the moment. He knew exactly, like, he wasn't going to call timeout, either try to shoot it right now. I would have been able to live with that. It's hard to live because coaches, and players, you prepare for these types of situations. That's all you do in the NBA. They can't run up and down the court and play scrimmages. They can't do that. What do? They go over situations over and over and over again. And most of the time what the players are saying, Coach, why are we going over this? We know what to do. But in pressure situation, guys will not do the simplest of things, and that's what we saw.
So bizarre end to the regulation in this game, and then obviously the Warriors go on to win. What's the mindset now heading into Game 2 for both teams, and what do both of you think?
Listen, Golden State knows they stole one. Golden State knows they got away with one. If you're Cleveland, the message for LeBron and for Ty Lue to everyone else has to be, guys, in 2015, we had a worse loss than this. Not because we blew it, but because it was an overtime loss of Game 1 of Finals, and in overtime, our second-best player broke his kneecap. And guess what we did in Game 2? We came back in this building and won it. We can overcome it. We've overcome something worse. Even if you don't really believe that if you're Ty Lue, that's what the message has to be.
In Golden State, they're looking at Clay in his leg. Do we hold him out of game number 2 because we got one in the bag? Do I give him 10 days rest until we play July 11th? I believe that's going around the Warriors and the organization right now. How severe is that injury to Clay's leg?
Have a great weekend, guys.